This struggle is a test. This struggle is a mirror. This struggle is a decision to think differently, act differently, and live differently. Repeat 3 words: think, act, live, because the top 1% don't follow the herd. They don't wait for permission. They don't let fear become the compass. They decide. The top 1% think in ways that defy the average. They rewrite the definition of possible. They don't simply react to life. They create it. Repeat 3 words: create, don't react, because reaction is survival. Creation is legacy. The 1% understand that power lies in the mind. Everything flows from thought. The entire structure of your reality is a result of your dominant thinking patterns. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." That isn't a feel. Good phrase, it's a law just as real as gravity. The top 1% live by it. They know thoughts become things. So they control their thoughts like a general commands an army. Repeat 3 words: control your thoughts. They do not entertain doubt. They do not surrender to fear. They do not babysit negative narratives. Average minds say, "This is too much." Great minds say, "This is just the beginning." Repeat 3 words: just the beginning, because mindset determines motion, and motion produces miracles. The top 1% invest in clarity. They know distraction is the enemy of greatness. They eliminate what doesn't serve their mission. They are surgical with their time, obsessive with their routines, and unbreakable in their standards. Repeat 3 words: eliminate, obsess, standard. This struggle, yes, this very one you're in, is forming your mental muscle. It's not here to break you. It's here to shape you. Every obstacle is a riddle, and the mind is the solver. The top 1% see struggle as sharpening. They welcome resistance. Repeat 3 words: welcome the resistance. While the masses avoid difficulty, the elite pursue it. Why? Because they know diamonds are made in pressure. Steel is forged in fire. Leaders are born in adversity. Repeat 3 words: born in adversity. They don't just read books, they devour them. They don't just plan goals, they obsess over them. They don't just wish, they will it into existence. Repeat 3 words: will into existence. Your environment must match your vision. Your thoughts must mirror your destiny. Your friends must align with your focus. The 1% curate their life like a gallery. If it doesn't elevate, it's eliminated. Repeat 3 words: eliminate all excuses. The way they speak different. The way they walk different. The way they respond to fear different. They don't beg for opportunity. They prepare for it. They don't compete for attention. They command it through value. Repeat 3 words: value brings victory. Your mindset is the governor of your potential. If you think small, you live small. If you believe little, you receive little. But if you stretch the mind, life must follow. Repeat 3 words: stretch your mind. This struggle is not the end. It's the invitation to rise, to elevate your thinking to the altitude of greatness. The 1% live at that altitude. They don't descend for comfort. They ascend for clarity. Repeat 3 words: ascend for clarity. You must become unreasonable. Reasonable people settle. Reasonable people compromise. The 1% challenge limits. They test boundaries. They disrupt norms. Repeat 3 words: disrupt the norm. The majority thinks in straight lines. The top 1% think in dimensions. They find angles, shortcuts, quantum leaps others miss. They understand leverage. They understand compounding. They understand energy. Repeat 3 words: understand the game. What separates them is not talent. It's not luck. It's decision, relentless decision. They decide to rise when others retreat. They decide to grow when others pause. They decide to lead when others follow. Repeat 3 words: decide to lead. They speak power into their day. They program their subconscious with affirmations. They visualize with vivid detail. They act before they feel ready, because success doesn't wait for feelings. It honors action. Repeat 3 words: action over feelings. The 1% protect their mind. They feed it like a sacred flame. They don't ingest poison through doubt, gossip, comparison. They guard their peace. They elevate their energy. They choose input like food. Repeat 3 words, guard your mind. They do not chase motivation. They manufacture discipline. They know motivation fades, but discipline produces results. Day after day, hour after hour, repeat 3 words. Discipline produces results. Pain is not a barrier, it's a bridge. Failure is not a verdict, it's a teacher. The 1% redefine these terms. They don't crumble under pain, they climb through it. Repeat 3 words, climb through pain. They delay gratification. They are architects of vision. They build with patience, while others look for hacks. They are mastering habits. Repeat 3 words, master the habits. They know confidence isn't something you're born with. It's earned through action. Earned through consistency, earned through confrontation with fear. Repeat 3 words, earned through action. This struggle you feel, it's a divine appointment. It's shaping your endurance, training your resilience, baptizing your commitment. Repeat 3 words, baptize your commitment. The top 1% do not quit, they pivot. They do not cry over rejection, they use it as redirection. Repeat 3 words, use the rejection. Your mind is fertile ground. Plant garbage and you get weeds. Plant greatness and you reap abundance. The 1% cultivate their mental garden daily. Repeat 3 words, cultivate mental garden. They don't scroll endlessly. They search intentionally. They don't gossip. They grow. They don't compete. They collaborate. Repeat 3 words, grow, don't gossip. They embrace solitude, not isolation, but intentional solitude, because in silence the mind sharpens. In quiet, the voice of purpose gets louder. Repeat 3 words, embrace intentional solitude. When failure strikes, they don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? When doors close, they build their own. When time gets tough, they get tougher. Repeat 3 words, get tougher now. You were never meant to be average. You weren't built for mediocrity. You were designed with a blueprint of greatness, but that blueprint requires activation. And activation requires decision. Repeat 3 words, activate your blueprint. Look around you. The world celebrates average, but the top 1% are anomalies. They aren't loved for conforming. They are respected for transforming. Repeat 3 words, transform, don't conform. This struggle is preparing you to rise into that 1%. But your thoughts must align. Your speech must align. Your choices must align. Repeat 3 words, align your life. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't need guarantees. What you need is vision, hunger, execution. Repeat 3 words, vision, hunger, execution. Your dream doesn't respond to luck. It responds to labor. It responds to fire. It responds to boldness. Repeat 3 words. Respond with fire. The 1% know life isn't fair, but they play the game better. They use every unfair moment as fuel. They don't get bitter, they get better. Repeat 3 words, get better always. Your mind must be renewed daily, not monthly, not annually, daily, because decay happens quickly. Doubt creeps in silently. Repeat 3 words. Renew your mind. They don't operate on emotion. They operate on principle, on clarity, on intention. Emotion is temporary, vision is permanent. Repeat 3 words, principle over emotion. When you feel tired, they go one more round. When you want to stop, they take one more step. Repeat 3 words, one more step. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being relentless. The 1% are not flawless, but they are fearless. They fall, but they rise faster. Repeat 3 words, rise after falling. There is no backup plan. There is only forward. The 1% burn the ships. They commit with no return. Repeat 3 words, burn the ships. This struggle is not here to defeat you. It's here to define you. Rise above it. Let it birth a new mind, a new hunger, a new version of you. Repeat 3 words, new now. Think like the 1%. Live like the 1%. Suffer like the 1%. Win like the 1%. It's not a dream, it's a discipline. Repeat 3 words. Discipline creates destiny. Now decide today, in this moment, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready now, because now is sacred. Now is where the 1% live. Repeat 3 words. Live in now. This struggle is your separation. This mindset is your weapon. This moment is your awakening. Repeat 3 words. Awaken the warrior. They control their thoughts like a general commands an army. That statement is not poetic exaggeration. It is the foundation of elite success. The top 1% know that the most valuable real estate in the world is the 6 inches between their ears. Every decision, every action, every reaction flows from the way they think. And so they treat their thoughts with strategy, discipline, and precision. To the top 1%, the mind is a battlefield. On this battlefield, there are only 2 forces, faith or fear, clarity or confusion, purpose or passivity, and they don't leave it unguarded. Average minds let any thought walk through the gates. But elite minds have a filter, a standard, a code. If a thought doesn't align with the mission, it gets dismissed. If it breeds fear, self, doubt, or limitation, it gets silenced. They do not allow mental sabotage. They recognize that one undisciplined thought can spiral into a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. They've learned that success doesn't begin with a bank account or an audience. It begins with inner dialogue. That quiet voice inside is either a coach or a critic, and they choose to strengthen the coach. They don't give volume to the voice of doubt. They wake up and begin the day with intention. Affirmations aren't optional, they are essential. Visualizations aren't imagination, they are preparation. These individuals rehearse the future they are building. They speak life over themselves before the world has a chance to speak doubt, because they understand the first voice you hear must be your own, and it must be strong. The top 1% do not fear silence. They embrace it because silence is where the mind sharpens. In that quiet space, they recalibrate, reconnect, and realign. They know the enemy of clarity is noise, social noise, media noise, emotional noise. So, they withdraw from it not as an escape, but as an act of command. They don't merely try to think positive. That's surface level. They restructure their identity by embedding empowering beliefs into the fabric of their subconscious. I am capable, I am resilient, I create outcomes. These aren't cute slogans, these are orders, orders given by the general to the mind, to the body, to the future, and when setbacks come, and they always do, the average person spirals. But not the 1%. They've trained their mind to interpret failure as feedback, delay as development, rejection as redirection. Their emotional intelligence is rooted in mental governance. They rule their thoughts, and therefore they rule their world. So yes, they control their thoughts like a general commands an army, because they understand that thoughts are soldiers. They will either fight for your future or sabotage your present, and if left untrained, those thoughts will turn on you. But if mastered, they will take you further than talent, further than luck, further than anything else possibly can. They don't chase motivation, they manufacture discipline. This is one of the defining traits of the top 1%. Where most people wait for a burst of inspiration, a perfect moment, or a surge of emotional energy to begin, the elite understand that success is not about feeling, it's about functioning. They don't rely on motivation because they know it's fickle. Motivation fades. It comes and goes with the weather, with sleep, with mood. But discipline stays. Discipline shows up even when everything in you says not to. The top 1% aren't superhuman. They feel tired, unmotivated, bored, and afraid just like anyone else. But they've made a non-negotiable decision. They will act anyway. They've separated feelings from performance. They don't ask themselves, "Do I feel like it?" They ask, "Did I say I would?" That's the standard. That's the code. They build systems, not hype. They know that rituals are stronger than feelings, morning routines, workout plans, time blocks, commitment calendars. These are not just tools, they are armor. They protect progress from the instability of human emotion, because if you only act when you feel like it, you will never build anything of significance. But when you build discipline, you become consistent. And consistency is where the compound effect lies. Most people underestimate the power of ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary commitment. The top 1% do not. They understand that what seems small, waking up early, reading 10 pages, sticking to the plan, is actually massive. Because each act of discipline strengthens their identity, each day they follow through, they reinforce the belief, I am the kind of person who does what needs to be done. They aren't motivated by excitement. They are driven by mission. Motivation is about pleasure, discipline is about purpose. One is emotional, the other is intentional, and purpose will always outlast emotion. When they fail, they don't spiral, they reset. Discipline isn't perfection, it's persistence. The top 1% know they will fall off track sometimes, but instead of shame, they respond with strategy. They get back up quickly, without drama, and they keep moving. They don't break their rhythm over one misstep. Discipline is how they create legacy, because legacy isn't built in a moment. It's built in moments, thousands of them, stacked, layered, grounded. And the only thing that keeps those moments coming is the ability to act even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. They don't chase motivation, they manufacture discipline. It's not glamorous, it's not loud. But it's the quiet backbone of greatness, and when others are stuck in cycles of emotional highs and lows, the disciplined keep rising, one committed, focused, intentional step at a time. If it doesn't elevate, it's eliminated. That's not a catchy phrase for the top 1%, it's a standard. They don't tolerate mediocrity in their circle, their schedule, or their spirit. They are fiercely intentional about what gets their time, their focus, and their energy. Every part of their environment is either fuel or friction. If it doesn't lift them up, it's weighing them down, and they cut it without apology. The top 1% understand that distraction is the enemy of destiny. You cannot reach the next level of your life with the same level of tolerance for noise. They know that everything, from the people you allow around you to the habits you entertain, neither sharpens your edge or dulls your purpose. That's why they're ruthless with alignment. Alignment is everything. Because even the most gifted individual will fail if surrounded by disempowering influences. This is why they outgrow people quickly, not because they're arrogant, but because growth demands it. When your mindset elevates, your boundaries must too. They recognize when relationships are built on nostalgia instead of vision. They see when conversations revolve around problems instead of solutions. They don't entertain low vibration behavior like gossip, complaining, and comparison. Why? Because those things don't elevate, and what doesn't elevate gets eliminated. Their habits are curated with the same precision. They don't waste hours binge watching mindless entertainment. They don't scroll aimlessly, trapped in digital loops of comparison. They don't start their days reacting to the world. They start them by creating it. Morning routines, goal reviews, physical discipline. These are not optional. They are systems designed to reinforce elevation. They also protect their environment, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. The spaces they occupy are intentional. Their workspace is designed for clarity. Their home reflects peace. They choose silence over noise, solitude over chaos, order over clutter. Because everything around them influences what happens within them. Even their thoughts go through a filter. They don't allow limiting beliefs to take root. When a thought doesn't align with their identity, it's replaced. When doubt tries to creep in, they speak truth louder. They don't entertain stories that make them shrink, only those that make them rise. This isn't harsh, it's holy. It's the discipline of discernment. Because when you're building something that matters, you don't have room for everything. You only have room for what aligns, and the top 1% are unapologetic about that. If it doesn't elevate, it's eliminated. That's how they keep their focus sharp, their energy high, and their momentum unstoppable. It's not about perfection, it's about protection, protecting the mission, protecting the mind, protecting the path. Because greatness isn't just about what you say yes to, it's also about what you're willing to say no to.